Number 9. Sea Serpent Skeleton. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water in eastern France, a horrifying creature appears. Just off the shore of the Loire River in France, a terrifying discovery has stunned locals and made tourists flock to the area to see the phenomena. The skeleton of a 435-foot sea serpent rises from the water near the Bay of Biscay. The stunning feature lurks beneath the surface at high tide, but when the waters recede, it surfaces on the beach. From a distance, the body of the creature mimics the curved shape of the nearby Saint Nazaire Bridge, but up close, visitors are shocked by the animal's size and the massive fangs jutting from its open jaw. Just in case you thought some prehistoric creature had risen from the depths, you can breathe a little easier knowing the skeleton is actually the handiwork of a Chinese artist. Wang Yongping created a breathtaking sculpture, one that depicts one of the most well-known symbols in Chinese mythology. Serpents are found in multiple legends and folktales, with the animal sometimes having shape-shifting abilities or magical powers. With the changing tide, the sculpture changes too, and as moss, riverfish, algae, and other plants start to grow and collect around the snake, Wang Yongping's magnificent creation will also change along with it. In Chinese folklore, snakes are called small dragons. They're often found in totems from the Tujia ethnic group that lives in the Sichuan and Hunan provinces. Snakes were also found in tattoos of the ancient people who lived in what is now the Fujian province. Even though the art world has embraced Wang Yongping's art, his own government didn't share the same feelings. His involvement in the Chinese avant-garde movement in the 1980s resulted in a lot of his work being banned. After moving to France, he continued to explore in his work, combining art with themes of identity and culture. His snake, the serpent d'océan, has a whip-like tail that is both vicious and graceful. It has made the snake a statement piece that has drawn thousands of tourists to the shores of the Loire River since it was installed in 2012. Number 8. Walking Shark. Seeing isn't always believing when it comes to online videos, so when a footage of a shark species that a biologist shared seemed to show the creature walking on land, it's no surprise that many viewers thought it was a hoax. But the animal found in the tide pool of the Papua New Guinea coast in 2022 not only set the internet abuzz, it was very much real. The species known as the epaulette does really have the ability to walk on land. This remarkable shark is found all along the northern and southern coast of Australia and have evolved the ability to walk in their search for food in areas where other sharks couldn't. A shallow water shark, they like to eat crabs and other invertebrates, using the coral reefs as a type of step stool to climb up and get to the next tide pool. Conservationists were understandably determined to figure out how the sharks were able to walk. Their curiosity paid off when they captured the footage showing the shark using its pectoral and pelvis fins to scuttle along the ocean floor, looking for crustaceans under rocks and coral. Using genetic samples from shark fin clippings, they were able to pinpoint the time when the sharks branched off into a new species. Sharks have been around for about 400 million years, 200 million longer than dinosaurs, but the species of walking sharks are one of the youngest sharks on Earth, only evolving within the last 9 million years. In 2016, there were 9 species of walking shark found exclusively in northern Australia, New Guinea, and Indonesia. They had the ability to survive for up to an hour on a single breath and can walk 100 feet across dry land. Sadly, as climate changes speed up, they kill the coral and seagrass these sharks feed on. But these sharks are also strong. They can survive with oxygen deprivation and in warm water, which might be something that helps to protect the species as climate change impacts their natural habitat. Number 7. BC Severed Feet. 5 years ago, 2 New Balance sneakers were found on Botanical Beach on Canada's Vancouver Island. But the real surprise came when a curious resident took a closer look and found the shoes had size 12 feet inside them. The mystery of severed feet washing up on BC beaches started in 2007, when a right foot washed up inside a sneaker on an island in the Strait of Georgia. At the time, a local coroner made it clear that none of the cases involved any violent activity. But that didn't stop local residents from feeling anxious about the bizarre discoveries. Over the next 11 years, more feet were found, and everyone had a theory about where they came from. Some thought they belonged to the unlucky victims of plane crashes or boat accidents. Others thought foul play was involved, but not even the BC Coroner's Service could figure out why the appendages were appearing on local beaches and why there were so many. Why do you think so many feet have washed the shore in the Strait of Georgia? Could it be a coincidence or something more sinister? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Two shoes that washed up on Botanical Beach in February 2016 were later identified as coming from the same person. In another case in 2019, DNA testing from a missing person's family showed the foot matched their relative who disappeared in 2018. With so many feet washing ashore, investigators in Washington state had to set up a special portal where members of the public could go to positively identify human remains. The portal was exactly what some families needed, offering them closure. And the portal worked. After the launch, 13 mysteries surrounding severed feet were solved with the help of DNA testing, giving the public, who didn't feel safe visiting the area until answers about the influx of cases were provided, some much-needed sense of relief. Number 6. Mass jellyfish strandings. Climate change is having an impact on everything from water levels to crop failures. Even some of the smallest creatures on Earth are feeling the impact. A fact that became pretty clear when massive numbers of jellyfish started washing ashore in record numbers on the West Coast. Blame it on warmer winters, but a species known as by-the-wind sailor have been stranding themselves on beaches in jaw-dropping numbers, most noticeably after warmer winters. Using their stiff, translucent sails, the teacup-sized jellies push their appendages above the surface of the water and use it to catch zooplankton and larval fish as they travel. But their little sail also catches the ocean breeze, sending them sailing ashore and stranding them on beaches around the world. Citizen scientists observing the travel patterns of the jellies have collected the largest and longest dataset on mass strandings in the world, helping researchers at the University of Washington learn how and why they happen. In 2019, managers combed the Coastal Observation and Seabird Survey Team database to see if others had taken note of the by-the-wind sailor jellies, which are also known as Velella velella. In years that the winters were warmer, large strandings happened simultaneously from the northwest tip of Washington south to California's Mendocino coast. Researchers studied citizen science observations of by-the-wind sailors and discovered that the organisms wash ashore on West Coast beaches during the spring, when the winds shift and push the jellies to shore. The Velella jellies are able to grow in numbers during warmer winters when the tides are calmer and less wavy. As the climate continues to struggle with rising temperatures, don't be surprised if your walk on the beach is coupled with a sighting of these brilliantly colored creatures. Number 5. Israeli beach oil blobs. A heavy winter storm battered Israel's coastline in early 2021, and with it came toxic balls of tar that covered the shoreline that'll take years to completely remove. The oil spill off Israel's coast turned into tar balls because rough sea conditions broke up the slick and mixed it into the seawater for several days, congealing the tar into small blobs. Sadly, the event threatens both humans and animals, and it has already had a devastating effect on the environment. A 55-foot-long whale washed up dead on a beach in southern Israel with its stomach completely filled with black liquid. Juvenile turtles also washed up on the shoreline, covered in black sludge. Marine animals are at risk from oil spills because they breathe and feed at the surface. Experts worry that the tar that has washed the shore is only a fraction of the toxic sludge still out there. A number of volunteers dispatched to the area to help with the cleanup had to be taken to the hospital after breathing in toxic fumes given off by the sludge. To make matters worse, the government failed to establish programs and funding to deal with oil spills in the last 2 decades. With no real plans to deal with the sticky situation when it began, it has become one of the most serious ecological disasters the country has ever seen. The government didn't really want anyone talking about it, and they issued a gag order on details about the oil spill, closing the entire length of Israel's 120-mile Mediterranean coastline to prevent members of the public from getting sick. With a new deal signed between the United Arab Emirates and Israel to build an oil pipeline in the area, experts warn this oil spill could be just the beginning of more trouble to come to the waters and the animals who live there. Number 4. Massive moonfish. A 100-pound fish washed up on the shore of Sunset Beach in northern Oregon, dazzling staff from the nearby seaside aquarium with its stunning, glimmering bright reddish-orange scales. The 3.5-foot-long moonfish, which is also called the opa, is the only fully warm-blooded fish alive today. They can grow to over 6 feet and weigh more than 600 pounds. The specimen washed up hundreds of miles from its normal habitat. They usually live in the open ocean, and they're rarely found as far north as Oregon. But warmer ocean temperatures mean the fish migrate north to keep cool. Aquarium staff and visitors got a rare treat and were able to study the specimen up close and personal. The fish has a unique flattened circular body, with occasional white dots and golden eyes. Even though they aren't usually targeted by fishermen, they're becoming more common and their meat is becoming more popular. Aquarium staff aren't sure if that means their populations are stable, so they decided to freeze the beached moonfish so it can be studied further in the hopes that by learning more about the fish and its habits, they can work to protect more of these stunning creatures from being captured. Number 3. Massive basking shark. Fishermen in Maine were in for a shock when they came face to face with the second largest fish species on Earth one January day. After coming across the massive 26-foot-long male basking shark, the men immediately called authorities, who alerted the Maine Department of Marine Resources. After experts rushed to the scene, they identified the gargantuan specimen as a male basking shark, whose Latin name, Ceterinus maximus, means biggest-nosed marine monster. These massive sharks are usually found in the Mediterranean Sea, the north and south positions of both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, and the Sea of Japan. It also appears near New Zealand and off the southern coast of Australia. They often migrate thousands of miles in search of warm waters, but no one ever expected to see one wash the shore in Maine. Second in size only to the whale shark, which grows 60 feet, the basking shark isn't actually a danger to humans. They usually dine on zooplankton and other tiny marine invertebrates by filtering them through their gills. Their habit of feeding near the surface is what got them their name, because it looks like they're basking in the sun when they hunt for prey. They're also known for being able to jump up to 4 feet out of the water, so try not to get too close. The back portion of their bodies is usually dark brown, black, or blue, and their livers make up a whopping 25% of its entire body weight. But their big mouths with multiple rows of razor-sharp teeth are what get the most attention. They're able to open wide to a remarkable width of more than 3 feet. They were first discovered in the mid-18th century, making it the only surviving member of its family. Over time, numbers have dwindled, putting them on the list of threatened species, which makes the shark found in Maine a rare find. Number 2. BombFilled New England Island. No Man's Land in Massachusetts is unusual for the heavily populated New England coast. It's brimming with spotted turtles and a myriad of migratory birds. It is a wildlife sanctuary with little human presence. But the thing that makes it strange is it's littered with countless undetonated bombs. The island is located about 3 miles from Martha's Vineyard, well known for being a playground to the rich and famous, including Oprah, Bill Gates, and the Kennedys. But even though it's just a stone's throw from the stomping grounds of so many millionaires and CEOs, the island was used as a US Navy bombing range from 1943 to 1996. Gus Ben David, a naturalist, biologist, and third-generation Martha's Vineyard resident, visited the island for the first time in 1973 when the local newspaper asked him to write a story on the state of the islands. After spending more time there than any other civilian, David says No Man's Land should be left alone and that any attempts to remove the unexploded weapons could jeopardize the habitat. An ecologist, U.S. Air Force veteran, and fishing guide named Brian McCarty, who's also familiar with the island, wants No Man's Land cleaned up and open to limited visitors. He's concerned that corroding munitions could pollute the soil and groundwater, and considering the only fresh water on Martha's Vineyard comes from the same water source located under the island, it's a pretty big concern. Another factor to consider is that the land once belonged to the Wampanoag tribe of Gay Head. The tribe wants greater and safer access to No Man's Land, both for cultural use and for general access by tribal members. even though leaving the island to nature might seem like the best option. With so many differing opinions, no one's sure how or when everyone involved will come to a consensus on what should be done with this uninhabited wildlife refuge. Number 1. Massive Megalodon. A Croatian man had a brush with the prehistoric when he found a tooth from a monster that roamed the earth millions of years ago. While searching for shells 37 miles from Zagreb, Stepan Susek found a giant tooth in a Croatian river, believed to be that of a megalodon shark. The creature lived 16 to 2.6 million years ago during the Neogene period in the Cenozoic era and swam in oceans and seas around the world, including the former Pannonian Sea where the fossil was discovered. They reached the maximum length of 60 feet, making them one of the biggest predators of the time. Fossils discovered over time hint that giant predatory sharks evolved earlier than thought. The Megalodon prowled seas 100 million years ago and was known to be as tall as a 2-story building. Their teeth were triangular and measured almost 8 inches in diagonal length. The specimen, believed to be Leptostyrax macrorhiza, measured 20 feet long and had 3 vertebrae, each measuring almost 5 inches in diameter. Other similar specimens have been unearthed in Texas and Kansas. Experts still aren't sure how such a powerful predator died out when the water was teeming with large enough fish, marine reptiles, and even small pliosaurs to support their big appetites. The discovery of teeth from the Meg found all over the world could be the last piece of the puzzle that'll help to figure out what happened to this massive predator of the deep. Thanks for watching. Which one of these things did you think was the strangest? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like these. See you next time. Bye.